Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, the New York Times points out that there is a fight going on in California between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. A big fight as to who's going to win there, because Bernie believes that he's going to be able to make the case for superdelegates to switch to him if he can pull off a big win in California. Well, good luck with that. But the presidential race draws attention to the fact that there really is an arms race going on in California right now. And that's a race to take away our arms. It's a race between the president of the Senate and the current lieutenant governor, who both want to become the next Democrat governor. So they are trying to show their bona fides in terms of gun control measures there. And that is a slight difference between Bernie and Hillary. Bernie has a D- from the NRA, but even Bernie Sanders will not hold parties responsible for things that were crimes that were committed with guns, like gun manufacturers and even movie theaters, like Hillary Clinton wants to do. Remember, it was just this last week that a court found that victims of the Aurora, Colorado shooting, where there was the Dark Knight showing, could not be held, they could not hold Cinemark responsible for the deaths of the people there. Of course, that was an act by a criminal individual. And the theater didn't have anything to do with it. Neither did the makers of the movie, and neither did the makers of the gun. There's even a congressional piece of legislation that makes that clear. Nevertheless, Hillary Clinton would move against that. And we see what's happening in California. We've got now what is being called by guns.com a gun-pocalypse. 11 fast-tracked anti-gun bills sweeping the California Senate, just to get an idea of what's at stake here. Measures to require mandatory registration of ghost guns, guns that you largely manufacture yourself. Retroactive bans on currently grandfathered firearms and magazines going back to 1899, so antiques are going to be banned. They're going to outlaw the use of bullet buttons. That's a device to make sure that you can change your magazine without using special tools. They founded a state-run firearm violence research center, which will create gun control propaganda as if it were a health care issue. They're going to make all gun theft a felony offense. They're going to criminalize loans of guns between friends, and they're going to require the reporting of stolen guns. And I assume that that would be a felony if you don't do that as well. And then there's going to be 3 bills focusing on ammunition alone. They will be bills that will mandate background checks for ammunition purchases, as well as collecting and saving sales tax information when people purchase ammunition. So maybe we ought to call it Ammo-geddon. You know, there really isn't much place to look if we're going to look at the Second Amendment. Outside of the Republicans and Democrats, even the person who's being touted as the vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party has supported assault weapon bans. With the Democrat nominees working as hard as they can to take away our gun rights, with even the libertarians soft on the right to keep and bear arms, the NRA endorsed Donald Trump. And we have a special report from Joe Biggs, who is at the NRA Convention in Kentucky.
Hey, this is Joe Biggs with Infowars.com, and I'm standing here with
Colin Noir.
And you are one of the
sexy and stuff like
yeah. You're one of the faces of the NRA, right?
I guess.
So let's get in a little bit of politics. You know, you know, the NRA came out. They're saying that they've endorsed Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. What do you think about all that?
A bit indifferent, as far as I'm concerned. I'm largely a one-issue voter for the most part. If you're not doing anything that's in contrast to how I feel about the Second Amendment for the most part, then we're in line. I know the people who are adamantly against it, and I know the people who are questioningly for it. So that's kind of where I am right now.
What do you think one of the most important topics in America today is, besides the Second Amendment right now? Something else that you really care a lot about, that you'd like to see taken care of with this next president?
So, of course, the Second Amendment takes such a massive precedence in my life in terms of what stays in my brain for the most part. And you know, there are a bunch of other things that kind of fall into that line as well. You know, I'm really big on the idea of, honestly, just freedom and not necessarily imparting somebody else's ideas on somebody else, right? The idea that because I'm not for this, you shouldn't be for this. I think from a 30,000-foot view, the Second Amendment is always going to be the biggest issue because it's the one thing that symbolizes the concept of freedom, which is inherently what this country is about. So it's hard for me to really sit back and say, okay, any other issues as far as I'm concerned that directly affect me, it's hard to say because the Second Amendment is literally takes that much of a precedence in my life. So you're going to be here for about another 30 minutes for me to think about something else that's really...
So what's most important to you, security or freedom? And it's kind of a trick question.
Freedom. Because I can I can create my security with my freedom.
Yeah.
I won't necessarily have freedom with security, and I may not even like the security to begin with. So,
Right on. Well, thanks, man.
absolutely.
Now we're at the 2016 NRA annual meeting in Louisville, Kentucky, and with me is Amy Jane. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
So is this your first event so far, or have you been to many?
This is my first NRA show. I absolutely love it. I was scared it was going to be like SHOT Show. It's really, high stress and everyone's running around. It's crazy, and it's actually really calm. Everyone's really cool. I'm super stoked, and it's definitely not going to be my last one.
So what's some of the guns that you've seen here so far that you really like?
Oh my goodness. We actually have at Trigicon has a wall of movie guns. They have John Wick's gun. They have Lone Survivor gun. They have all these crazy, amazing guns that you should go check out. Benelli has the John Wick shotgun, so I'm all about that stuff.
So tell me about yourself. You shoot, you do a lot of different things. So who do you shoot for? All that.
I mostly shoot for Terran Tactical Innovations, which is somewhere on here. I'm also sponsored by 511 Tactical, Blade Tech, all the really cool people, Tough, Dewey Rods, the list goes on. But yeah, mostly Terran Butler, who's right over there if you want to get a shot of that guy. He's running.
It's a political atmosphere now. Donald Trump was just here, what was it, Friday,
Yes.
The day I got here. And NRA came out and endorsed him. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's phenomenal. I support anyone who supports my gun rights, all of our gun rights, because that's how it should be. So,
What are your thoughts about Hillary Clinton?
Hillary?
Yeah, Hillary.
Hillary Clinton. I can't wait for Trump to be president, and then we can put her on trial.
So tell me some of the things do you ever do any kind of political stuff for gun rights? Do you go out to, like activist events? Do you protest at all for that, or do you get involved locally in California with anything?
I usually don't have the time because I work like 18 jobs and I'm constantly all over the place. But I do know that there was like a mass email going around where some political stuff was going on in California, which is my state, where they were just kind of passing laws, like we're just going to pass this and not really mention it to anybody. So if there's like an email that I can write to somebody, or forwarding posts or reposting something to get other people's attention to do the same, because the strength in numbers, then I'll do that. But it's kind of all I really have time to do. So I will definitely support when I can.
All right, so last question, security or freedom?
Both? D, all of the above? I don't.
Well, security as in the government saying they're going to take care of you, or freedom for you?
Freedom, 110% freedom.
All right, well, there you have it. Amy Jane wants freedom, so do we, and we want our gun rights.
Yeah.
Amy Jane for Trump, and Amy Jane for gun rights. And I'm sitting here with Terran Butler. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, how you doing?
So everyone's seen that, video of Keanu Reeves, and here we are at the Trigicon booth. We're at the NRA meeting in Louisville, Kentucky. Tell us about some of these guns and what it is you do.
Well, I'm a competitive shooter, 3-gun, multi-gun for years, pistol matches, IDPA, all that crazy stuff. And I've been lucky enough to be able to working with Hollywood, living in Hollywood in that area, training actors for films and stuff like that. And we've been training Keanu Reeves for films coming up, and he just likes to shoot. And these are some of the guns. This is the TR1 Ultralight AR-15. It's got a Trigicon TR-24 on top, the RMR on the side. This is the one from the viral video. It's a light, fast little rifle. It's got all the great parts on it, BCM, Voltor, LaRue Tactical. It's a great little gun.
So I got a question for you. We just have, basically we figured out who the presumptive GOP nominee is, Donald Trump. The NRA has come out and endorsed him. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I hope he makes it. I think he will make a difference. It won't be just another company man, get me in there, and then just, I made it, I'm president, let's just stop. I want to go golfing. And I think, look, he does fun, crazy stuff to get attention, whatever, but I really think, yeah, absolutely, that's the choice we have.
It's pretty huge victory for the Second Amendment, don't you think? To have that endorsement for him, and to see that he is now the most voted for GOP nominee in the history of America. That's pretty big.
No, it's awesome. And I saw Shooting USA where his two sons are gun nuts, loading ammo, shooting, and all that stuff. I'd love to have him come out and shoot sometime, but absolutely support him 100%. What other choice we have, He's gonna kill it.
And what do you think, security or freedom?
Freedom.
And why is that? What is freedom to you?
Having the freedoms that we have with guns and the stuff that we're doing, being safe. I don't want to be secured in some little room.
Yeah, you don't want to be you don't want a big brother watching over you and kind of telling you what to do. You want to have that freedom to protect yourself, right?
Of course. Yeah.
All right. This has been Joe Biggs with Infowars.com.
In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries in the area of health. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. DNA Force is one of the most expensive formulas to produce. Some of the ingredients in DNA Force are $12,000 a kilogram. We are using the coveted, patented, only American source of PQQ, CoQ10, and more. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? Well, we're bringing you a total win-win. The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. We have produced a limited run of DNA Force, and it will take up to 12 weeks to produce more once we sell out. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.